Good morning. Welcome to the Bucks County Commissioners meeting of February 18th, 2026. We will do the Pledge of Allegiance, but afterwards I'd ask for a moment of silence. It isn't lost on me that it is Black History Month, and we lost a great person yesterday in Jesse Jackson. So, I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we will begin, as we get to do every month, with employee recognition. We have several employees here for their anniversaries, but we'll begin with just telling you who couldn't make it, and that is Tracy Kerwood from Children and Youth, Patricia Arario, Mental Health and Disability Programs, and Christopher Hines from the Department of Corrections. They are all 20-year awards, so give them a round. And also for 20 years here with us today is Danielle M. Staziski, and from Children and Youth. Yes, come on up. If you wanted to say anything, you can say something if you'd like. I just want to make sure this is the right one. Thank you. I was really worried. I asked 3 people about how to pronounce. That's it. Yes. Thank you. And from the Planning Commission for 20 years, we have Matthew M. Walters. Did you want to say anything on your way back? Okay, but we'll take a picture. Thank you. And here honoring 30 years is Lisa Marie Hearn from Adult Probation and Parole. And as I mentioned, it is, of course, Black History Month, and we will begin with a proclamation that Commissioner DiGirolamo will read, and then Bernard Griggs will be here to give us an update on the African American Museum.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Whereas the month of February is observed each year in the United States as Black History Month to commemorate the contributions of African Americans to our country's foundation, from the arrival of the very first enslaved people from Africa to the African American icons of today. The commemoration and celebration of Black history is essential to enhancing the unity and strength of our nation. Whereas the African American Museum of Bucks County has officially been recognized as Bucks County's African American History Archive, celebrating the African American experience, inspiring pride and heritage, and sharing untold stories of the diverse African American journey. Whereas the construction of the African American Museum's permanent home at the historic Boone Farm property in Middletown Township marked a critical milestone this month as builders transitioned from core and shell work to construction of the museum's interior space. To commend the beginning of the final stages of construction, Bernard Griggs, Director of Operations for General Services Division, handed over the building's key to museum president and executive director Linda Sally during a brief ceremony attended by the museum board members and the county commissioners. Now, therefore, do we, the Board of the Bucks County Commissioners, Chair Diane Alice Marseglia, Vice Chair Robert Harvey, and myself, Gene DiGirolamo, hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month throughout the county of Bucks. In so doing, we commend the African American Museum of Bucks County, its members and supporters, for their passion or hard work and to promote the history and heritage of the diverse cultures and communities of Bucks County. We encourage Bucks Countyans to join us in celebrating the innumerable contributions African Americans have made to our country and to our county and the many more years yet to come. Congratulations, everyone.
As Bernard's coming up there, I just want to say something I should have said before. We are having a problem with streaming, so we will show this on the website after the meeting. Good morning, Mr. Griggs.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Rose. Good morning, senior staff, and good morning, public. As the Commissioner said, I am here today to give an update on the African American Museum, and today's update marks a meaningful milestone in the project that is both technically complex and historically significant, and one that carries a lasting importance for Bucks County. As you'll see in the images on the slideshow here, we recently reached an important moment, which is the official turnover of the keys to the building to the African American Museum Board of Directors. Now, that moment represents the transition from construction to near-term occupancy and brings the museum within reach of opening its permanent home. Today's timing of the presentation could not be better. We are at the heart of Black History Month, and the project is focused on preserving, interpreting, and sharing African American history that occurred right here in Bucks County. Now, this is not new construction. What we are completing is the total restoration of an original farmhouse that was built in the early 1700s, located at the Boone Farm property within Core Creek Park. The Boone Farm holds historic significance, including documented connection to the Underground Railroad, which makes the site especially meaningful during Black History Month and entirely fitting for the home of the museum. So the project began in late 2020. From there, we spent approximately 18 months working through architectural design, engineering, historic review, and required public approvals before construction could even start. The building itself is a 4,000 square foot, two and a half story load-bearing masonry structure. Restoring a building of this age requires careful and a methodical approach. And once construction began, we encountered unforeseen conditions, which is typical working with a structure that's more than 300 years old and that had been in significant need of repair. Addressing those conditions properly was essential to ensure safety, longevity, and preservation of the building's historic character. Now, I'm pleased to report, as you heard from the Commissioner, that the county-funded core and shell portion of the restoration is now complete. The interior build-out, which is essentially the responsibility of the museum under the county nonprofit lease agreement, is approximately 85% complete. So in practical terms, that means that the project is only a couple months away from full completion. And once the project is complete, we look forward to celebrating with a ribbon-cutting ceremony, officially opening the doors to the museum in its permanent home. And so the restoration of the farmhouse will not only serve as a museum, but a living historical landmark for education, reflection, and community connection. Now, Commissioners, before I open up for questions, which you may have some, I'm not sure, but I just want to take a moment to sincerely thank you for your continued support, your leadership, and your vision, because The project would not be possible without it. And in the more than 25 years that I've known the three of you, and we've worked on all sorts of initiatives, long before I joined the County of Bucks here 5.5 years ago, your leadership has always been consistent and unwavering. And for that, I thank you. And on a personal note, having lived in Chalfont here, right in the heart of beautiful Bucks County with my family for more than 21 years, I will tell you, it truly warms my heart to know that Bucks County will be home to an African American museum, and that I was also fortunate enough to play a role in helping bring this historic restoration to completion. So with that, I'd be happy to open up for any questions that you may have or comments. Hearing none, I'll entertain them. Oh, wait, you're supposed to say that.
Commissioner Harvey?
Sure. Now, I think really, the four of us up here especially, and leaving out Mr. Greaser only because he came in slightly after the rest of us, we want to thank you because, make sure that we don't minimize the role you played. Having the construction background you have is the reason that you were hired in this job originally back in 2020. And then handed to you, this may have been the first project we gave you and said, make this happen. And so it is an incredibly difficult project. It's an incredibly complex project. And so I really appreciate everything you've done to make this happen because it really would not have happened without you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I just want to add the same thing. It was great to be able to work with you on this. The one thing I'm noticing, though, is I wish we had pictures back from 2021, because I might actually have some on my phone. If you could see what it looked like in 2021 with dust and I can't believe the miraculous change. So when we come back and show pictures again, we've got to get some from before we started anything. And also, thank you. I have hoped for years that we would be able to turn this place over, and you were the first person who said that physically we could do it. And Ms. McKevitt was the first person who said, yes, we absolutely can do it. So I'm very proud to have this. As I drive past it every day, it makes me smile. So thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, that's right. We should take a picture.
Bernard?
Bernard,
Bernard?
can we take a picture? Margie, stay here for this. Stay.
Good job.
This month is also Career and Technical Education Month, and I'm going to turn that over to Commissioner Harvey to introduce our guests and read the proclamation.
Thank you very much. As some may know, I spent 26 years as a public school teacher before I was elected to this position. 20 of those years was at Bucks County Technical High School in Lower Bucks County, where I was hired in 2000. The school had undergone a $35 million upgrade and expansion to make it a comprehensive technical school, which meant that kids went there full time. They didn't go back and forth between their schools as they had since 1959 when that school opened. It is certainly one of the kind of formative times of my life to be brand new at a school. I was 29 years old. I had 6 years experience as a teacher. I was made department chair of a department of 10 people. I had more experience than all other 9 teachers in my department combined. And so at 29, I was the old man in the group, and then starting out with really no curriculum to speak of and having to write that. But the tech schools we have here, Upper Bucks Technical School, Middle Bucks Institute of Technology, and Bucks County Technical High School and Lower Bucks, serve thousands of students who leave those schools, not just with the technical knowledge they have to enter into that field if they choose to, but having the hands-on experience to build the confidence they need to be successful in whatever they choose to do. I used to talk to the students I had and tell them about, when you leave the school, you're leaving here, with not just let's say, knowledge of how to be a carpenter, or how to be a diesel mechanic, or how to write code for computers, or how to be a first responder. You can use those skills, obviously, to go to college. If you want to, advance that career, you can go right into the workforce. You're coming out way ahead of every other 18-year-old who's coming out of a traditional high school. But you also have skills that you're never going to lose. And so certainly you graduate with a degree in carpentry, let's say. If you choose not to go into that field, you choose to do something else, you never lose that carpentry skills. And so I used to say, you can save yourself a lot of money not having to hire a carpenter to do stuff at your house. No offense to the carpenters out there who are trying to look for a living, but it is practical knowledge that helps literally build futures. So it is my pleasure to be here and to thank the 3 directors of our schools who are here. I'll introduce in a minute. Whereas Career and Technical Education, CTE, provides students with the opportunity to build both the academic and technical know-how necessary for success across countless industries and disciplines. And whereas CTE students engage in hands-on learning, with academics honing real-world skills that open doors to career exploration and promote opportunities for high achievement. And whereas in these programs, businesses and industry leaders work hand-in-hand with academia to bridge skill gaps in the workforce and to connect professionals with careers in critical fields. And whereas technical schools in Bucks County prepare students for fulfilling careers through integrated educational programs that develop the skills and knowledge necessary for attaining industry-recognized credentials. And whereas by building a workforce ready to succeed in technical fields, CTE programs promote a strong national economy that keeps our nation competitive on the world stage. Now, therefore, do we, the Board of Commissioners of Bucks County, hereby proclaim February 2026 as Career and Technical Education Month throughout the County of Bucks. In doing so, we commend the Upper Bucks County Technical School, the Middle Bucks Institute of Technology, and the Bucks County Technical High School for providing meaningful pathways to careers, post-secondary education, and lifelong learning to ensure that today's students are ready for tomorrow's emerging technologies and global marketplace. And joining us today from Middle Bucks is Dr. Mark Cavell from Bucks County Technical High School, my former boss, Hank DeGeorge. And from Upper Bucks, we have Michael Herrera. So please, go forward. Thank you. Yeah, and obviously, please feel free to make any comments you want to make. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much. Well said. We believe that CTE is not an alternative pathway, but is a primary driver of economic mobility. Our model is built on deep industry alignment. At Upper Bucks, we have 200 occupational advisory committee members that serve helping that ensure our students are ready. Along with my colleagues, our School to Work program is nationally known. Just during the school day, over 2 years, our students earned over $1.8 million in the School to Work. Our students leave with industry-recognized credentials and certificates. During CTE month, we not only thank our students, but our staff and community members, the commissioners, and Bucks County, which we're very proud to be a part of. And I'll turn it over to Mark.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you very much for the recognition this month. We're super proud to be in CTE. As a classic K-12 teacher and administrator myself, finding CTE made all the difference in my pathway and my career, and I'm thrilled to speak out loudly and proudly about CTE now. So thank you for the recognition. This is a time where career and technical education is experiencing record interest, record enrollments, and record achievement for our students, just as Mike had mentioned. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Commissioners, for honoring CTE this month. I told Mr. Harvey, as his former boss, this was a formal observation today, so I will be sending it to you afterwards, Bob. But career and technical education is no longer the best-kept secret in Bucks County. We have more kids than we have seats. So hopefully going forward, with a little bit of assistance from the state, we'll be able to give each student that career and technical education that they're seeking. we don't want to stop until every student who wants a career in technical education can get one. So thank you, commissioners.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Good to have you here. Congrats.
Do a quick picture here.
Can I just
Okay.
Just one more thing to point out, just as we travel around, talk to business owners throughout this county, and since I've been in this job, one of the things I kind of, when they say, well, we're having trouble finding people to work, we're having trouble finding machinists, we're having trouble finding welders, we're having trouble finding this, that, my first reply to them is, have you talked to the tech school? And usually the reply is, what tech school? And depending on where this business is, I point out, well, you've got one, down the street, you've got one here, one there. And all the schools have co-op programs where seniors especially who have learned as much as they can in the building actually can go out to work and get credit for, working. And it is a pipeline for skilled workers, kids who are coming right out who have learned the latest technology, as Mr. Herrera mentioned. Those occupational advisory committees, they meet a couple times a year to help the teachers make sure they're teaching the most up-to-date technology in whatever field they're teaching. So if you're a business owner out there, you're looking for workers, find out which tech schools near you and call them and ask for help, because they'd be happy to help you. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll go to public comment. Ed Mackhouse.
Ed Mackhouse from Buckingham, former teacher, engineer, scientist, physicist, discovered the structure of matter, electron, proton, and neutron. I like to comment all the work that's being done by all the great workers and the technical schools, and there's outstanding technical schools. With the lack of vision, people perish. America has been the greatest nation in the world. It's still the greatest nation in the world in many ways. However, America, being the greatest nation in the world, should be producing wealth. We should be making trillions of dollars. However, America has been borrowing trillions of dollars every year and enriching nations like China, which are our greatest enemies, corrupted, taken away our technology, and threatened us with nuclear war, offering nuclear weapons to any nation to threaten us. So President Trump and Netanyahu saved America from being destroyed by nuclear weapons. Iran has produced thousands of warheads, rockets, but they haven't had the uranium, enriched uranium, to make the warhead so that they can obliterate us. As a physicist, I understand that if nuclear war occurs, we could lose 50% of our people. The liars will say, well, nuclear war is impossible. Russia's threatening it and all. If there's a limited number of nations, China feels they can get away with nuclear war. So it's sort of like before Trump came in, like we were in the Titanic. It was able to stop Iran in the nick of time. But the threat of nuclear war will not go away as long as nations have nuclear weapons. And if every nation had nuclear weapons, we couldn't please 100 people with nuclear weapons. We couldn't appease them and protect our people. So we have all these divisions on our campuses, attacking Jews, Christians. Europe used to be Christians being overrun by people who don't have the same, or invaders who come in for money, monetary things. So we, as an individuals, like the vision, impossible dream to keep America and the world safe. And we need to cooperate with ICE to protect America and not have criminals, murderers come live next to us. There's no surefire way to correct things. We have to have more compassion for the majority of people who are innocent rather than the criminals, and cooperate with the federal government. And congratulations for all that you are doing and will do to make America, keep America safe. Thank you.
Adrian King.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'll start off by saying a hearty thank you to you from the 5-year-old whose mother moved us here in the early 80s, the adolescent who struggled to find herself and see an image of herself in this county, the wife who finally convinced her husband that this was the place that we should raise our 2 daughters, and the mother who continues to fight for her daughters to see representation of themselves. I thank you for the support, the presentation that was done about the African American Museum. It really is going to have a huge impact in this county. That's really not the reason I came. I didn't know that was going to happen, but I felt like I had to say that. So my name is Adriana King, and I serve as the president of the NAACP Bucks County branch. I'm here today to express my appreciation for Bucks County's decision to file a brief to support the preservation of the President's House slavery exhibit in Philadelphia. Sometimes it seems like we're so far away and we forget that we are connected. Since 1909, the NAACP has relied on the courts as a mechanism to protect civil rights and ensure our nation confronts its full, honest history. Through the work of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and Educational Fund, legal advocacy has been used to defend educational equality and equity protections when those principles were at stake. The President's House site is not only significant to Philadelphia, it is a vital education resource for students and families throughout our region, including right here in Bucks County. And Bucks County itself carries a meaningful African American history, as we just heard, preserved through institutions such as the African American Museum of Bucks County, the Gathering Place, and the African American Historical Society of Bucks County. These organizations remind us that our local history is deeply connected to the national narrative. Preserving access to complete and accurate history is not about politics, it's about civic literacy, it is about educational integrity, it is about ensuring that future generations learn full story of our nation, including the realities of slavery at the highest levels of early American government. By participating in this process, the county affirmed that regional history matters and that public institutions have a role in protecting historical integrity when it impacts their residents. On behalf of the NAACP Bucks County, thank you for your leadership and your thoughtful consideration and continued support of this issue.
Thank you. Thank you. Chris Polly.
Good morning. Truth is not midway between the liar and the truth teller. The people who tell the truth don't need to make liars feel better about what they said. Politicians or people that spread fear and hate may think of themselves as real Americans, but we don't have to. Truth tellers certainly don't have to sell out our principles for their comfort. When you stand on the ground of truth and justice, many others will find their way to you, of course recognizing sadly that some will never find their way. Thanking some of the people in this room for taking a stand for truth. What you do on this side of the barrier matters a great deal. Thank you, Sheriff, for your focused interest on public safety and core responsibilities, for emphasizing to residents with certain concerns that Bucks County is not and never has been a sanctuary county, that Bucks County will continue to cooperate with federal agencies, including ICE, honoring judicial warrants and orders, an established legal precedent that was set in Lehigh County that respects both our residents and our Constitution. I also read recently about waste, saving taxpayers $125,000. I'm not familiar with the specifics, but thank you for that as well. Also, in the interest of justice and truth, thank you, commissioners, for supporting item 20 regarding the ICE detainee processing, and for allowing Bucks to join the collar counties in a pro bono supported lawsuit regarding enslaved persons panels at Independence National Historic Park in Philadelphia. Federal politicians have clearly lost the public trust. Hiding the past does not help. My questions relate to any federal policing agency request to Bucks County. What happens when an ICE or CBP representative or any federal policing agency calls or emails Bucks County asking for information that the county may have on a Bucks County resident? Are there controls on the request itself? Is a request forwarded to the sheriff or a designated individual in his department to handle all requests in the same manner? Or can the request be handled directly by any Bucks County employee who receives this request? Are there any controls on the information that may be shared, any areas that are prohibited, such as confidential taxpayer voter information? Are there always specific verifications, absent Fourth Amendment probable cause justification, to ensure that the federal government is entitled to the help requested? Thanks for any further clarification you might provide in that area.
Thank you. Natalie Pashket.
Good morning. I'm Natalie Pashket, currently a resident in Bensalem of Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and I'm here today because I am scared. I am scared because of the overwhelmingly amount of community members that do not trust any of you in your government capacities right now. And this goes for the local, state, and federal levels. As of today, February 18th, 2026, it is to my understanding that the social facts that we hold true now is that our current federal administration has violated the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 10th, and 14th Amendments as of our constitutional rights granted to the people in the United States of America. It is also to my understanding that the current federal administration is attempting to push the SAVE Act through Congress, effectively violating our 24th Amendment as well. And this is where I would like for you to please lock in and internalize what I'm about to say to you and ask. Any acts or amendments that are going to touch voting will be affecting everyone. And there is a lot of heavy rhetoric going around of what actions are being implemented to ensure that no voter intimidation will be happening going into this midterm season and voting going forward. Will this county speak up and defend its power to the federal level if need be? Will this county stand firm in its voter integrity across this county? What does election support mean? The proposed SAVE Act looks to add more required documentations to vote, one example being the passport. I am somebody that has to reapply for my passport right now. I have to go through the reapplication process. And when I opened up the Bensalem Free Library webpage to see that effective February 13th, the Bucks County Free Library can no longer offer passport services, as the U.S. Department of State has determined that the Bucks County Free Library is no longer authorized to operate as a passport acceptance facility and must cease accepting passport applications. What are those parameters that no longer authorize a free public library to operate in this manner? And off of that, what is the county doing to open up more avenues to make obtaining these documents easier if this is to go through? What precautions and conversations are the county having if the Senate gets through with this and it becomes law, right? What are the guardrails in place that you are pushing to the public that this county can feel secure and safe in carrying out their civic duty? I am scared. But thank you, and please, if you can answer any of those, that would be appreciated.
Thank you. Jill Waldbeiser. Natalie Pashket.
Good morning. I spoke at the last meeting here regarding hearing, vision, mobility, and orientation services for infants and toddlers in Bucks County. I know that the county has found providers for all the families affected, but there are still concerns about the quality and longevity of these providers. No one is addressing these concerns. Questions about who will provide evaluations for babies with visual impairments have not been answered. I want to try to explain some of the impact of these changes. When I brought my son home from the hospital 10 years ago, I was overwhelmed with all the regular things new parents have to deal with, the feedings, the changings, the lack of sleep. But I also suddenly, unexpectedly, had to deal with this entire new landscape. I had a million questions. My son's father and I had not known anyone with hearing loss. We had no resources. We didn't know, are we going to give this perfectly healthy child, infant, elective surgery to help him hear and communicate before he turned 1 year old? Do we have to teach him a whole new language just to communicate with my son? I didn't know what cued speech was. I didn't know what a speech pathologist was. I didn't know the difference between that and a teacher of the deaf. I did not know what kind of future my son would have. But luckily for us, providers from the IU knew. They visited us at home and they explained all the options without pushing any of them on us. They answered my questions, they gave me resources, they educated us and made us feel, most of all, in a time of complete chaos and overwhelm, that things might be okay. Right now, other families in Bucks County don't have that anymore. This county used to be known for its exemplary services for hearing loss. Like when I took my son to CHOP for appointments, other people would say, wow, Bucks County is so great. And in neighboring areas, they didn't have that. And now we risk that same fate. We do have warm bodies filling these roles, and some of them, yes, may have the right qualifications. But in general, overall, there are still big concerns about the quality, longevity of these services. And they do not have the knowledge, dedication, and compassion that the IU was able to provide. Bucks County has not just a legal obligation to these children, but a moral one as well. The program as it stands is flawed. It's not offering the same quality of services my son received, and it's not sustainable long-term. We're still relying on providers to pull second shifts. They're seeing babies, literal newborns, late in the evening hours because it's all that's available. Families have expressed to me concerns about how this is sustainable. When my son was born, I became a disability rights advocate, but none of us should have to personally experience these things to know what is right. As public servants, and I am one, we take oaths to protect and serve our constituents, and the most vulnerable among them surely deserve better. I've asked state legislators to form a bipartisan group on this matter. Last night, Bucks IU, of which I'm a board member, announced a subcommittee.
Your microphone is still going, but your time's up.
Okay, dedicated to advocating for state and federally funded programs like this one.
Okay, we're going to move right on to Steve Nolan.
Steve Nolan, Newtown. Since our current president celebrated Black History Month by superimposing the faces of a former president and wife onto a couple of apes, let me read from an op-ed that I just started writing this morning. Try to educate a little bit. It's called Hitler Was Duly Elected, Why America Must Understand Malignant Narcissism. If the United States is going to escape the fate of Germany, we must understand something very simple. After 10 years of a grown man engaging in totally inappropriate behavior on a daily basis, we refuse to acknowledge an obvious truth. For the first time in American history, we have a president who's mentally unfit for command. In fact, he has such malignant personality features that he would have been an obligatory psychiatric discharge from the United States military if he was a new recruit. I'm a retired military officer who had to evaluate and discharge personality disordered people throughout my career. It's a disorder that renders a person incapable of adapting to military or societal norms. This is an instant disqualification because you have someone who cannot work with others as a team, cannot alter their personal beliefs even for our regulations, and they cannot delay gratification or sacrifice their own needs for the sake of others in an environment where selfless service is required even unto death. The phenomenon of Donald Trump is made possible by three factors. Number one, personality disorder is easily the least known mental illness outside the military and our prison system. Number two, narcissism has a common lay meaning for people who are merely full of themselves. So people, even members of Congress, can believe that a narcissist and a narcissistic personality disorder are synonymous. This is a dangerous mistake. Number three, personality disordered people are what we call egosyntonic. They feel normal to themselves, not symptomatic, so they do not go to mental health voluntarily. They're almost always referred to mental health after doing something inappropriate. Almost all sex offenders, for example, are personality disordered, but rarely have a mental health record. The sexual assault, the crime is the symptom, not anxiety, depression, or any other mental health symptom. Needless to say, we do not allow a rapist or a pedophile to continue to wear the uniform of the United States of America, but we are allowing a sex offender to sit in our White House. We have betrayed our military by giving them a leader who is a convicted felon, an adjudicated sex offender, when every member of the military would face a court-martial or jail time had any of them committed the same crimes. Or as I said to Sheriff Herron when he contracted with ICE, unless you're arresting murderers, you won't be arresting anyone who has committed worse crimes than Donald Trump himself. Yet he taught them.
Shh, I'll take care of it. Thank you. And Andy Warren.
As a one-time, long-time dues-paying, card-carrying member of the NAACP, I commend the commissioners for the recognition today. I also bring to anyone's attention who may not be aware the federal judge who ruled favorably with the placing the signs back is a Bucks County resident, all of which we should be proud. Now, hopefully somebody will get together and start putting back statues of Columbus, Jefferson, Jackson, and many other historical figures. But so far, we're doing good. The 2 points that I have today, one, item number 15A, Newfound Incorporated approved contract with the opioid settlement, but it doesn't have any statement as to how much the adjustment is. Do we have a figure for how much that adjustment is? And while I speak of money, I bring back to the meeting of May 21st, where there were $3 million worth of projects on that list, one of which was $400,000 for a facility that had a 90 days from notice to proceed construction. Now, I know $400,000 doesn't go as far today as it used to. However, I would think that after 9 months, certainly we ought to have more than two potties, job potties, and an outhouse if this is in fact a good expenditure of county dollars, and who's keeping track of the little things while there's each week you all pass over 3-4 million. And don't think this isn't being actively used. We've got every day, I mean every 2 days, these jobbies are cleaned, which is wonderful for use. But what about the $400,000 that you passed 9 months ago? Perhaps we could go back to the tech school and get some of the seniors to help construct what looks like a basically prefab facility, I'm sure they could do it in less than 9 months. Watch our tax dollars.
Thank you. Reverend Kevin Jago.
Hello, I'm Reverend Kevin Jago, resident of Doylestown and minister of Bucksmont UU Fellowship. I want to speak in support of the regulation opposing ICE detainee processing of detention facilities being located in Bucks County warehouses. I was recently in Minneapolis for the massive protests. I'm a native Minnesotan and now resident of Bucks County. And what is happening there is something horrific. It is devastating to witness my friends, my family, and the entire community ripped apart by illegal operations by our federal government. We don't want that here. Already too much is happening in Bucks County. Residents of our county are being abducted around the corner from my congregation in Bensalem, across our county. We don't want more of this, we actually want less of it. What's going to be built in Berks is going to amplify what's happening here as well already. So I want to just publicly and vocally support what this commission is doing, and I hope that it is not the end of what you are doing, but just the beginning. Again, this is something that we don't want to see here. We don't want our residents, our citizens and non-citizens terrified to talk to our police, terrified to interact with our government, because it's already happening. We've already had the breakdown of relationship between our communities and our representatives and our law enforcement. Everything that happens from here on out could either make things better or make things worse. And I hope our elected officials will continue to do what is necessary to keep us safe and safer rather than more endangered and more attacked by the people that we've elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Day.
Good morning. My name is Susan Day. I'm from Wrightstown. I want to thank the commissioners and our county representatives for what they do for us. I really appreciate it. I'm here to talk about issues with drinking water here in Bucks County. We've had most recently a notice that Wrightstown wells may be affected by PFAS. Upper Makefield has the jet fuel pipeline contamination. And according to ArcGIS, there are over 10 different pipelines crisscrossing Bucks County. I want to thank Steve Santerciero and Frank Ferry for introducing the Pennsylvania Environmental Cleanup and Responsibility Act this month in Harrisburg. This act will address both pipeline and other environmental contamination, but it addresses contamination post-accident, not prevention. This is more than Brian Fitzpatrick has done. He signed on as one of 24 co-sponsors to a 2025 bill by Representative Mary Gluesenkamp-Perez from Washington State, where Boeing is located, regarding PFAS cleanup. This bill has been referred to multiple committees. Brian Fitzpatrick is one of 24 co-sponsors. He did not author the bill. That bill has now been referred to multiple committees where it sits at the whim of the speaker. That being said, we need to do more here in Bucks County. Residents of Mount Airy are still without potable water. It will take time for any of these bills to go anywhere and do anything. They have no remediation plans in sight. Their homes are unsaleable. As an additional note, that jet fuel pipeline goes under the Delaware River. We have no idea if there's any contamination occurring from that. We need to have the owners of all these pipelines in Bucks County prove that there is no additional contamination through active monitoring and not wait for contamination to happen. Thank you.
Beth Curcio.
The data center project at the Keystone Trade Center in Fairless Hill will cover about 247 acres and include 2 million square feet of data center buildings, 10 structures with range between 112,000 and 217,000 square feet, and they are planning a standalone building potentially reaching 1 million square feet within the campus. Eventually, this could span up to 15 million square feet with the campus. This is one of the largest data centers in the country, and the data center is in the very early stages. Many counties across the country have halted and actually stopped data center projects. When the community pushes for public hearings, petitions, and environmental reviews, over $64 billion in U.S. data center projects have been blocked or delayed by community campaigns. Residents organizing can have a real impact. Data centers can significantly make environmental impacts. They use the amounts of electricity globally. Data centers use 460 terawatt hours in 2022. And in the U.S., they emitted over 150 million tons of carbon dioxide in 2023. They also use enormous amounts of water for cooling, sometimes 50 million gallons per day, and they can strain along the infrastructure. 5 million gallons per day is the equivalent to the water usage of a town of 10,000 to 50,000 people. They bring pollution impact since they rely on diesel backup generators, which release nitrogen oxygens and fine particles, raising air pollution risks, especially within a mile of the site. And these projects have been tied to billions of public health costs. Plus, e-waste from frequent hardware updates and chemical pollutions from cooling can also harm the environment. Josh Shapiro has been pushing to bring data centers to PA for jobs, which they create only short-term construction jobs. They actually employ very few people. I think the people of Bucks County, and especially of Fairless Hills, need to start asking a lot more questions. Number one, is there a decommissioning clause? How is a data center being generated? Are they being in their own micronuclear reactions bringing in? Will they guarantee that no electrical charges they generate are passed on to the residential customers? Are they paying all the taxes and not being given tax abatements? They aren't getting exempt or special tax privileges, correct? No non-disclosure agreements between the center and the township and or the county, correct? Cooling process. They are not taking from the water sources our residential communities need, correct? There is new technology that says these data centers should be using air cooling. Is that being looked at? I don't see the benefits to collect more data. It seems like a risk to the community and the county. This is absolutely not worth it for our environment. Thank you.
Jake Dzinski.
Good afternoon. You're going to have to give me a minute. My first time speaking in front of you all, so really excited. But also I have autism, so bear with me. I came here to say a couple things, but I'm going to start by saying those, and I kind of want to pivot. My big ask of this commission is we need a commission advisory board for people with disabilities. We don't currently have one. We're supposed to. 1966 law in the state says we're supposed to have one. We don't. I have, like I said, autism. I have a mitochondrial disease. That board needs to exist. I'm happy to serve on it. Let's make that happen, please, because we really need to do that. Secondarily, some of the things that I've heard today, I'm new to Bucks County. I'm moving back home from Montgomery County, Maryland, where I served on the IDDC commission there and created that, so I was pretty proud of that. Just want to remind people that even at these hearings, despite how we feel, we need to maintain some sense of decorum about how we speak and how we sit in the audience. That is important. Otherwise, nothing gets done and we become no better than anybody else running around screaming in the middle of the streets. As you've heard today from various people, ICE is a problem, I would argue, but it's how we talk about that that matters. I think someone here in the audience actually mentioned they're scared. Hell, I'm scared. I've had friends dragged away. I have a friend who's from Peru who's going to school at American University who is, I have to text them every time they go back from class to make sure they get back to their dorm because I'm afraid they're going to get picked up and shipped out to some country they don't belong to. Like that's the reality of what we're talking about here. I heard someone bring up a nuclear apocalypse. We have this thing called nuclear assured destruction. That's not going to happen. Anybody fires a nuke at anybody, we're all going to die. We got one rock. We got to share it. That's just the reality of the situation. Physicists or not, everybody should know that. I have an insane amount of respect for what you guys do as public servants. It is what I have dedicated my life to, being a spokesperson for people like me who have always been told that we can't speak for ourselves. I've been told I'm too autistic and not autistic enough at the same time sometimes, which is genuinely impressive, let me tell you. I'm wearing this USA Hockey jersey, not necessarily because I'm the world's most happy American right now, because some of the stuff going on in this country right now is definitely questionable, but because I really want the USA to beat Sweden today at the Olympics. And I think, like, at the end of the day, there's a lot more here that we can agree on than would separate us. I have never been more proud in my entire life to say I am from the Commonwealth. Yes, for those of you not from here, we are a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I am a proud Philadelphia sports fan. Go Birds. Thank you for firing Kevin Patullo. And I just really, really, really want to stress that all of these conversations, they matter as long as they're taken in a tone that is helpful. Yelling and accusing gets us nowhere. I can quote the Constitution too. Everybody can. But no one's going to do anything with that, and then you're just going to ignore what I say. So in summary, please look into a commission for people with disabilities or with IDD. Please, I've been trying to call y'all's office. The website is not autistic friendly. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Marguerite Chandler.
Good morning. I'm Marguerite Chandler from Newtown. I understand that an announcement has been made that there will be no ICE warehouse facility in our county. I appreciate the stand that the county is taking. We do not have to speculate about what can happen when an ICE enforcement or detention facility is placed in a local community without full transparency. Whatever one's political views, the lesson is clear. Once such a facility is established, it immediately becomes the focus of lawsuits, environmental challenges, national media attention, and continued disputes over oversight and detention conditions. Local governments can't control federal policy, but thank you for insisting on due diligence before any local land use approvals or cooperation agreements move forward. The experience of other communities show that the only moment when local leadership has real influence is before approvals are granted. Thank you for using your influence to protect the stability, transparency, and public voice of Bucks County. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's it for public comment, just to answer a couple questions. First of all, we do have a board. We have the required Behavioral Health Advisory Board for mental health and disability programs. It's been here for years. We can have someone help you find it on the website, but we have volunteers that are on that board, and I would encourage you to fill out the application. You did? Okay, so then you found it. All right, good. So maybe we'll be eager to have you on that board then. The second thing was that PSI does all our visual and auditory challenges. The IU never had a role in that. They were just consulted occasionally. And all of the people who were being seen by IU people have been assigned to someone. Nobody's having any complaints. I think some emails went out to further clarify that. And then there was a question as well about 15A. Did you want to?
Yeah, Mr. Warren raised the issue about 15A. So the amendment to the agreement doesn't change the value. It's about $144,000. It's for improvements to some structures that are being used to help people who are going through substance use, or recovery. What it does is it changes the work that's being done. They're adding some work being done inside the buildings. The price is staying the same, but they just changed what the scope of the work was. That's what the amendment was.
And finally, it did my heart good that sometimes people complain about Project 2024, and it's good to see people are worried about the environment, 2040, and that they are worried about the environment and join us in that concern. I appreciate that. Moving on to the agenda, is there a motion to approve the minutes of the February 4th, 2026 meeting, as well as items 1 through 19B?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none. We are moving on to number 20, which is to approve a resolution opposing the ICE detainee processing or detention facilities, and I'll turn this to our solicitor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will read the resolution. A resolution of the County of Bucks, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, opposing the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency establishing ICE detainee facilities in Bucks County warehouses. Whereas the County of Bucks follows all state and federal laws regarding cooperation with law enforcement, including with United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. Whereas on January 20th, 2025, the White House announced a policy to detain and deport vast numbers of illegal aliens residing in the United States and directed DHS to allocate all legally available resources or establish contracts to construct, operate, control, or use facilities to detain removable aliens. Whereas recent reports from human rights organizations reveal alarming conditions of confinement and repeated instances of coercion, physical force, and threats against immigration facing third country deportations in violation of agency policies and standards, as well as statutory and constitutional protections within ICE detention facilities. Whereas the federal government, when presented with bipartisan concerns about DHS immigration operations, including the conditions inside ICE detention facilities, has demonstrated an unwillingness to rein in or acknowledge rampant, flagrant disregard for public safety and constitutional guarantees of due process, severely affecting the government's credibility. Whereas the ICE nationwide efforts to lease or purchase industrial warehouses for the purpose of obtaining additional facilities to process and detain individuals in the agency's custody have included multiple warehouses in Bucks County and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Whereas the County of Bucks, as represented by the elected Board of Commissioners, opposes the use of warehouses or similar industrial facilities not intended for human occupancy as facilities to hold, jail, detain, house, or otherwise store human beings. Whereas, in addition to humanitarian concerns arising from the reported poor treatment of individuals in ICE detention, conversion of industrial warehouses to detention facilities implicates local land use ordinances. Whereas, such facilities being hastily erected in areas and structures not intended for human occupation would place unanticipated demands upon water and sewer systems, creating hazards to public health, as well as heaping new strain upon public safety services. Whereas under the Federal Clean Water Act, federal agencies must comply with all federal, state, and local requirements governing the control and abatement of water pollution, and no facilities can be connected to a municipal sewage system, and no building can be occupied without first obtaining a permit indicating that the site is in compliance with the provisions of the Sewage Facilities Act. Whereas Governor Shapiro identified and communicated similar concerns regarding ICE warehouses being converted to Secretary Kristi Noem, DHS, in a letter dated February 12, 2026. Whereas, echoing the governor, it is a primary objective of the county to ensure that public safety and welfare of its residents, business community, and visitors. Whereas the conversion of industrial warehouses into mass detention facilities does not align with the goals or shared values of equity, sustainability, resilience, and health and well-being of the people of the County of Bucks. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Commissioners is opposed to conversion of industrial warehouses into facilities for the processing and/or detention of ICE detainees for the reasons previously set forth. Adopted as a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the County of Bucks this 18th day of February, 2026.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commissioners? Commissioner DiGirolamo?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is an important resolution, and I'm going to support this and vote yes on the resolution. And just reading, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners are opposed to the conversion of industrial warehouses into facilities for the processing and/or detention of ICE detainees. And that means all throughout Bucks County, no matter where anybody lives. Now, I know there has been some talk and conversation, and I don't want to say rumors because they seem pretty credible, about possibly one being put, or just talking about being put in Bensalem and another one in Middletown. And I don't care where anyone lives in Bucks County, whether it be the lower part of the county, the upper part of the county. Bucks County is not a county that needs or wants a detention facility. It is not appropriate for our county, not at all. And I'm going to I'm supporting the resolution, and I was very happy to see yesterday our Congressman Fitzpatrick yesterday put out a statement that also opposed any detention facilities here in Bucks County as well. And as part of that statement, he said he had talked to ICE, and they had assured him that they are not looking in Bucks County for a detention facility. Well, I've been in government for 33 years, and I know what might be true one day might not be true a day from now, a week from now, a month from now. So I want it to be perfectly clear, whether it's right now or a month, a year from now, we do not want, and the commissioners are opposed to a detention facility for ICE here in Bucks County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate Commissioner DiGirolamo's words. We know from just over in the past week that there was an effort in the Lincolnia section, apparently of Bensalem, to look at a property for a potential ICE warehouse. We know that attention was rebuffed by the owner of that property, who was not interested in partnering and selling or leasing that property. We know that the eyes then turned to Middletown and a couple of facilities that are built on the former, what used to be the Reedman Toll property, where there are warehouses now. And we know from a prominent land development attorney in this county who's been doing business for probably 30 years that he has communicated that he has clients who are, I think he used the word besieged by phone calls from people looking to purchase warehouses because they know they can sell them to the federal government, because the federal government has allocated about $38 billion for this particular kind of endeavor. I wholeheartedly agree, obviously. In fact, it was my recommendation that this resolution be written. I appreciate the work by our staff in putting it together. I agree, obviously, with Commissioner DiGirolamo, this county is no place for these kinds of facilities, but I'll expand that. This country is no place for these kind of facilities. We have been down this road before with Japanese Americans during World War II. We have been down this road before. Most people don't realize that there were Italian Americans detained during World War II in similar circumstances because they were seen as untrustworthy and segregated and discriminated against. at some point, we have to think back to who we are as a country and stand up for what's right. This is doing that. We do believe that there will be more attempts. I certainly do not trust this administration at all. There's no reason to. I certainly don't trust the Secretary of Homeland Security. There's no reason to. And certainly the behaviors of a lot of the people underneath her lead to a lack of trust. And we heard that from some of our speakers today, some who were witnesses to that behavior. We don't want people who are being detained from where, we don't know who they are, stored in buildings that are not meant for human habitation. And certainly any effort by the government to say that they would retrofit it appropriately, we have to be serious. Why do we really trust that that would happen in a way that any of us would accept? So, I certainly, and also want to be very honest with the people who are here and who are watching and who are going to hear about this. The $38 billion, which could be spent in a lot of ways to benefit the people of this country, is a lot of money to retrofit warehouses. And so although we're focused on the infrastructure improvements and we're focused on the public safety, I do not put it past this government to spend that money in a way that would allow them to do something like this. The federal government does not have to follow zoning laws. And so if you think that where something it's zoned a warehouse can't have the zoning change without going through the normal procedures that everybody else has to go through, going to a zoning board, having a hearing, notifying residents and neighbors, and letting them say their piece, that does not have to happen here or anywhere in this country. And so, we're going to do our best, especially working with local municipalities. We're going to continue to keep our ears open and hope that we have the cooperation of property owners in this county and residents in this county who don't want this in our county, and share my view that we don't want this in our country. We have to be better as a nation, and I think this is a small step that I hope this county is taking to lead the way in that regard.
Thank you. And I appreciate your leadership on passing this resolution, and Mr. Grieser for all the work you did on it, and Ms. McKevitt for following up with all of us. I have to tell you, there was some frenetic texting and emailing over the weekend between township supervisors and commissioners and attorneys to make sure we are where we are today. So I proudly ask for a motion on number 20.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we're on ordinance 175. And turn this over to the solicitor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Next on the agenda is ordinance 175. This is an ordinance that amends ordinance number 172 pertaining to the Bucks County Active Volunteer Tax Rebate Ordinance. The new ordinance amends the old ordinance by providing simpler criteria for our emergency service volunteers and application process. It also standardizes the processing on our end at the county so that we can get these worthy volunteers their funds quicker and process easier. Is there any other discussion about this ordinance?
Any questions?
No, I mean, obviously, we know that this is something we started, and I thank Emergency Services, and I know this is quite the undertaking for the fifth floor in terms of controllers and finance to make this happen. But this is something we are allowed to do by the state program we started to try and reward those people who wanted to volunteer for our fire companies to give them some kind of an abatement. We've had different ideas about how to do more, but unfortunately the state doesn't allow us to do a whole lot more than this. So it is not a perfect system, but it is something we're trying to do to thank those members of our communities who volunteer and give them some kind of tangible thank you instead of just me standing up here and saying thank you. So.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? This is a roll call.
This is a roll call. Commissioner Ellis Marseglia,
Aye.
Commissioner Harvey,
Aye.
Commissioner DiGirolamo.
Aye.
The motion passes.
Terrific. We're moving on to 30 through 44, budget adjustments.
Thank you, Commissioners. For your consideration today, we have 14 budget adjustments to allow for final expenditures to post against the 2025 budget. These adjustments are being balanced by recognizing additional revenue as well as reallocating available budget, so there's no impact to the general fund balance.
Thank you. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve budget adjustments? So moved. 44, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a motion to approve the personnel actions for today?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Commissioner Harvey, do you want to do the board appointments?
Sure. We have some appointments and reappointments. For our Bucks County Agricultural Land Preservation Board, these are 3-year terms, reappointments. Mr. Kenneth Goldenberg, Mr. Bartley Millett, Mr. David Wolfinger, all terms ending 2/22/29. To the Bucks County Drug and Alcohol Commission, a 3-year term, Mr. Marlon Williams, reappointing. His term will end 12/1/2028. And the Bucks County Workforce Development Board, 3-year term, Mr. Michael Taylor is being reclassified. This is a board where by state ordinance, we have to appoint people who represent certain industries and certain fields. Mr. Taylor is going to be reclassified to be part of a youth-serving business. So I'll make a motion for those 5 appointments and reappointments.
Is there a motion to?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And under other civics, we have Animal Lifeline for 2,000, Rolling Harvest Food Rescue for 2,500, SCORE for 3,500, and Shared Wellness for 2,000. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Our Chief Operating Officer's report.
I will be quick. Thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to, I know Bernard is not here, but I wanted to thank him for all his hard work on the African American Museum of Bucks County. It's been a long venture, but he did a great job, and we're looking forward to it opening soon. And I encourage everyone to visit it. It is beautiful, beautiful building. And then second, I know it doesn't look like it outside, but the Household Hazardous Waste Program is starting again in April 4th. It'll be at Lower Bucks County Community College, and the information is on the website on what is acceptable to bring, so you got a month and a half to get ready to drop it off. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And our solicitor's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One quick comment on the Ringing Rocks facilities question. I think it's Mr. Warren who raised it earlier. This is up in Bridgeton Township. We've been working with the township to get permits issued. That's really been the delay here. This week, they did approve the O&M maintenance agreement for that project, so we expect it to move forward here very quickly now. Second, we did have an executive session yesterday. We discussed litigation, and the commissioners received confidential legal advice. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Commissioner comments. Commissioner DiGirolamo?
No comments today, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Harvey?
Yeah, just a couple. Want to acknowledge the fact that the county received a letter from Chester County, which was dated January 28th, and a citation, which recognizes the Board of Commissioners, but more specifically recognizes some of our Board of Elections employees. And last November, it's kind of was well publicized that Chester County had some serious issues with their processing of election materials and poll books on the election day. And they were really scrambling for help, and we had some of our employees from our Board of Elections go to Chester County and help them. And so they were incredibly thankful for the work that our people did. And so I wanted to just acknowledge the fact that this letter was sent by their chief executive officer, and that their commissioners did send the citation thanking the county for helping Chester County. We have a great relationship with our Collier County neighbors, and I think this is just a great example, not just of that partnership and all of us kind of recognizing how important it is to work together, but also the professionalism of our staff, that we were conducting our own election, And yet, they were committed enough and determined enough and capable enough to also help another county. Yeah, I will, no, it's my next thing. So the sort of sad part of this is because of statements and actions, especially by this federal administration, that have, over the last many years, demonized election workers. The workers here at our county who were helpful and who were mentioned in this have asked for their names not to be read because they, don't want that publicity. So it is a shame that we live in that kind of environment, that we can't totally recognize them because of the, statements of people who care more about getting reelected than actually building for the next generation. I also want to acknowledge just, going back to my teacher days, today marks a beginning of a religious holiday, a period of reflection, of fasting, a period where the religious observers, in this faith, kind of refocus themselves on their energies, think back upon, the foundation of their religion, and think about how they can move forward. And I'm talking about two different religions, actually, because today is Ash Wednesday for Catholics, and today is also the first day of Ramadan. And I think it's important to consider something I always just tell my students, that religions that we sometimes, by some people, are told are so different, actually have a lot in common, more in common than they have different. And so for Catholics, like myself and others, and for our Muslim, neighbors and friends here in this county, wish you a beginning of Lent is today, ending, of course, with Easter and April, and a blessed Ramadan to all those our Muslim friends and neighbors. So that's how I'll end. Thank you.
Thank you. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.